बिंदु करुणा बारी दिया बिंदु करुणा बारी कंठे दिया पासित पराणुर रुसानी बारा पासित पराणुर रुसानी बारा बसहुद सिंहासनी देवता मोरा पूर्व मन वासना देवी पयरा भव सागर दुस्तर जंजालु करहि पार भव सागर दुस्तर जंजालु करहि पार दया निधि पुराए आशा मनर दया निधि पुराए आशा मनर बसहुद सिंहासने देवता मोरा पूर्व मन वासना देवी पयरा बसहुद सिंहासने देवता मोरा पूर्व मन वासना देवी पयरा।
जयगुरु। दर्शन दिया प्रभु दर्शन दिया दर्शन दिया प्रभु दर्शन दिया तुमको बसीछि चाहि आसबारे प्रिय तुमको बसीछि चाहि आसबारे प्रिय दर्शन दिया प्रभु दर्शन दिया दर्शन दिया प्रभु दर्शन दिया तुमको बसीछि चाहि आसबारे प्रिय तुमको बसीछि चाहि आसबारे प्रिय किपरि करिबी सेवा विधि जଣା नाही किपरि डाकिबी प्रभु डाकी जाने नाही किपरि करिबी सेवा विधि जଣା नाही किपरि डाकिबी प्रभु डाकी जाने नाही हृदय सन पासे डाकुछि तुमको हृदय सन पासे डाकुछि तुमको उछुरन करी बीज कर प्राण प्रिय उछुरनकारी दर्शन दिया दर्शन दिया प्रभु दर्शन
You want to make egg?
तुमको बसी आसबारी प्रिय तुमको बसी थी चाहिए आसबारी प्रिय की परीक्ष बीबी पता जानना
मेन बहुत सारे हैं
मानना की परी से बीबी पदा से भी जानना गुरु चुआ चंदनी मान मानना नयनार स्वच्छ नयनार स्वच्छ रखी बीजे कर उदासनी देवी पद धोई बीजे कर जीवी पद दर्शन दिया प्रभु दर्शन दिया दर्शन दिया प्रभु दर्शन दिया तुमको बसी थी चाहिए आसबारी प्रिय तुमको बसी थी चाहिए आसबारी प्रिय से भी जाने नहीं प्रभु डाकी जाने नहीं तथापि डाके मुनि दर्शन पाई से भी जाने नहीं प्रभु डाकी जाने नहीं तथापि डाके मुनि दर्शन पाई कृपा कर बारे प्रभु अधीन पाई कृपा कर बारे प्रभु अधीन पाई सार्थक कर जीवन दर्शन सार्थक कर जीवन दर्शन दर्शन दिया प्रभु दर्शन दिया दर्शन दिया प्रभु दर्शन दिया तुमको बसी थी चाहिए आसबारी प्रिय तुमको बसी थी चाहिए आसबारी प्रिय तुमको बसी थी चाहिए आसबारी प्रिय मुझे आसारे दीना मुझे आसारे दीना के बेसाते मोरा भंगा कुड़िया रे বেসাতে মোরা ভঙ্গা কুড়িয়ারে দেব তুমি দরখানা দেব তুমি দরখানা মুঝে আশারে গানুছি দিনা আশারে গানুছি দিনা মোহাম্মদানিতা ঘোরে সইথিবি যাকে তারি মোহাম্মদানিতা ঘোরে সইথিবি যাকে তারি রুমু ঝুমু তোমা চরণ নূপুরা রুমু ঝুমু তোমা চরণ নূপুরা তব দেবাঙ্গিবা তব দেবাঙ্গিবা মুদে আশারে গানুছি দিনা
ভব বন্ধনা মোচনা পূজ্যবরা গুণহীনমস্তে সগুণাধিপতি ভবভীরুজনে সত তাম্বরদম ভবভীরুজনে সত তাম্বরদম প্রণমামি কল্পতরু প্রণমামি গুরুং শিব কল্পতরু।
জয় গুরু। বনে বনমালী কদম্ব বনে বনমালী বন্দিও ধরে ডাকে সধীরে বন্দিও ধরে ডাকে সধীরে গোপনে মন করে চোরে গোপনে মন করে চোরে ধীর সমীরে যমুনা কূলে ধীর সমীরে যমুনা কূলে কদম্ব বনে বনমালী কদম্ব বনে বনমালী কদম্ব বনে বনমালী কদম্ব বনে বনমালী। জয় গুরু।
পড়াশোনা এদিকে আছে।
ଜୟଗୁରୁ ଉପଦେଶ ପାଠ ପଢ଼ିବାର ଅଛି। ଅଜିତ ଭାଇ ଅଜିତ ଭାଇ ବୋଧେ ନାହାନ୍ତି, ଦଉଛି ଏଠି ସାନଜିତ ଭାଇ ପଢ଼ିବେ। ପେଜ ନମ୍ବର 27 ରିଲିଜିୟସ୍ ପ୍ରାକ୍ଟିସେସ୍ 27। Jayaguru. Religious practices: knowledge, wealth, health, bravery, noble birth, and liberation from the worldly bondage. All these emanate from dharma, or religion. But the modern rationalists consider these deformed intellect as conscious and create serious problems. In the name of conscious, they commit sin by disbelieving the scriptures written by the Arya Rishis, endowed with splendid scientific knowledge and unfathomable yogic power. In order to understand the real tattvas and the philosophy of truth, there is no other way but to repose on faith and take shelter of the scriptures. Those who, in the matters of religion, try to establish this fantastic opinion under the spell of unrestrained self-will, those who hold tenaciously the wisdom and conscience imported from the West and disbelieve in their own scriptures due to mental deformities growing out of religion, out of foreign education, those who ignore scriptures and perform religious practices with the mind poisoned by material ambition and guided by hasty and fickle wisdom, can neither get happiness in this life nor reach the supreme state in the life after. Those who, in the name of Viveka or conscious, consider opinions and actions in accordance with their own will have little knowledge about the meaning of the word Viveka. Man's intelligence is formed according to his past impressions and ideas. So does he have any capacity to determine which action is right or wrong? Those who consider wealth and richness, power and fame quite satisfying to mind and soothing to the mouth, and with that hope commit so many evil actions on the bed of vices, for them religion is awful, unpalatable, and discomfortable. Those people whose heart is filled with selfishness cannot at any time do any good to any country or to any individual or to any society. Those well-educated persons who in the name of the Gita are spreading irreligious preachings should always remember that Bhagavan had said, athastra vihitam groham tapyante ye tapojana dambha hansa rasa myukta kamara gabala anvita karsayanta sarirastam bhuta grama machet tasa mana chaivantah sarirastam tam vidya sura nischayam. Gita 17:5 and 6. Those who perform tapasya or spiritual austerity in accordance with the scripture and who are egoist, arrogant, and lustful, not only to weaken the element of body, but also weaken me, who inhabits in them as their soul, know them as demons devoid of conscience. Hence, all can understand that whimsical and superficial worship of the fashion-loving babus of today have little worth. It is the duty of one and all, to follow the religion of our own nation approved by the scriptures. If anyone deprecates these two cantos of the Gita, exaggerated or selfish outbursts of the Brahmins, I am undone. As a matter of fact, those who interfere in the actions for which they are not fit and deserve do a great harm to the society and country. In the height of self-pride, they not only deceive themselves but also deceive others in several ways. The great soul has termed them hypocrites. Gruhi hokar kahe jnana, bhogi hokar lagaye dhyan, jogi hokar thokaye bhag, tino aadmi mahathag. It means that who, leading a household life, sows the airs of the knower of Brahma, he who, restoring to the life of enjoyment and luxury, does meditation, and he who, being a yogi, indulges in amorous relationship with women, are called great hypocrites. Therefore, I tell, instead of wasting the precious life in the hypocrisies, if you perpetually forsake egoism, etc., you will remain without bondage forever and easily get rid of three types of sorrows and attain nirvana mukti, ultimate salvation. Man is the sole architect to kill himself because his endless desire is the final arbiter of his material destinies. You relinquish your desire, then you will not even see yourself. If you give up desire, you will not have to assume the physical form like ordinary human beings, but you will perpetually submerge in Sajjananda Brahma. There is a great need of religious actions, moral character, and spiritual practices in this world. All feelings, all emotions, all desires in this world flourish in habits. Therefore, whatever is done every day becomes established in inner impression or inner nature. Therefore, whatever man practices in daily life, it is possible that power and impression of those actions will immensely be uppermost and operative till the last moment of life. When the formation of man in anyone undergoes transformation and distortion according to one's action and desire, it is certain that mental attitude will also be greatly changed by it. There is no need of lots of intelligence to understand it. Jayaguru.
Jayaguru. Saraswata Sangha Puri, America Saraswata Sangha, 1997 Sangha Puja session report, Pariya Sarthak Aruma, Sibani Mahantima. Date 12 December 1st, 2024, time 7:15 a.m. to 11:55 a.m. Eastern Time. Adivasi Puja was held at NSM on Saturday evening, 7 p.m. Eastern Time to 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Sangha Puja attendance, the link to the attendance is available in the AMSAS website. First session, December 1st, 2024, 7:15 a.m. to 8:45 a.m. The morning session of the puja started at 7:15 a.m. with Pratiksha Sangita sung by Anjali Ma and Puja Ma. During the Pratiksha, all the devotees joined the puja via conference bridge. Sanjit Bhai performed the arati. Then Smita Rema sang the Vandana, Vandai Guru Charana and Stokya Vandana. Smita Ma read Sri Guru Gita Sloka 108. Raja Bhai read the Paricha Patra followed by Samrani Pratana and Bhakta Nivasan Nirmana Pratana. Then Shivani Divedi Ma read the song Sevaka 10th year 4th part, Vandana, Pratana and Pratana Karinka Prati. After the reading of the Sangha Sevaka, Shivani Mahanti Ma invited Sri Thakura, Bhai, Mass and young aspirants to attend the second session. The first session was concluded with Jayaguru Namakirtana. After the first session, Balya Bhoga was offered to Sri Thakura and then Bhai, Mass and young aspirants accepted Prasada. Second session, December 1st, 2024, 9:45 a.m. to 11:55 a.m. Eastern Time. The second session of the puja started at 9:45 a.m. Eastern Time with Abahana sung by Uditama, Ketri Gopana Asa and Banima Kahara Boinsi Bajuchi. During Abahana, all the devotees joined the puja via conference bridge. This was followed by Pranamagana and opening of the asana. Then Shivani Mahantima sang the Vandana, Hey Ananda Bhuvanananda. Then Kalpanama read the Parichapatra, followed by Vishwapati Pranama, sung by Linama. Then Chitama read Nigama Upadesa, page 26-27, advice to common people. Then Swapneshwara Bhai read the minutes of the last Sangha Puja session. Then Rashmi Pandarma read Pancha Sanyasini Sishya, followed by Bhaktima sang Prarthana Sangita Ki Bhasari Kutagyanta Janaibi Mura. Then Padmama read Sansara Pathe Part 1, Reinstitution of Rishi Era. Then Janabhai conducted questions and answers session. Then the young aspirant session was started with the Prarthana Sangita sung by Ashita. Then Shriyama led followed by the young aspirant. Then the young aspirant session was started with the Prarthana Sangita sung by Ashita. Then Shriyama led the discussions in the young aspirant session. Then Sarthak, Aruma and Shivani Mahantima did their Bhava Vinima Seva, followed by invitation of the Madhyana Bhoga and evening puja. Then Shiraji invited Sri Thakura for next YA session, followed by Usama and Aradhana Ma invited Sri Thakura to the next Sangha Puja to the held on the December 8, 2024. After that, Aruma prayed for the forgiveness from Thakura. All Bhais, Mass and young aspirants, young aspirants. The session was concluded with Vidya Prarthana, Dayama Sri Charani sung by Smita Baima, and the asana was closed with Jayaguru Namakirtana and Pranama. Biswajit Bhai took the attendance of all Bhais, Mass and Mass for the session. Then Madhyana Bhoga was offered to Sri Thakura, followed by Prasada Sevana. Sri Thakura Transit, Sarthak, Aruma, Shivani Mahantima. Jayaguru.
Jayaguru. Padiya Nilachari Thakur Nigananda. Bhai Suna Rauchi Mura voice.
Again, Jayaguru.
So 1337 साल 1337 साल प्रथम ही ठाकुर पुनराय भ्रमण में बहिर्गत हेले 1336 साल चैत्र 4 दिन पुरी को फेरी से अल्प दिन पुरी आसते 2/83 नंबर चिठी रे तारीख 23/12/36 अच्छी मु बैशाख मासरे अक्षय तृतीया समय मठ को जाई फेरिबा बेले जगतसी देई आसीबी एभली संकल्प करथिली तम लोकरे ରୋଗ ଭୋଗ ହେତୁ ଶେଷ ପର୍ଯ୍ୟନ୍ତ ସେ ସଂକଳ୍ପ ରକ୍ଷା କରିପାରିବେ କି ନା ସନ୍ଦେହ ପ୍ରକାଶ କରି ପୁଣି ଲେଖିଛନ୍ତି, ତେବେ ବର୍ତ୍ତମାନ ସୁଦ୍ଧା ମାସାଧିକ କାଳ ସମୟ ଅଛି, ସମ୍ପୂର୍ଣ୍ଣ ସୁସ୍ଥ ହେଲେ ମଠକୁ ଯିବି। ପୁରୀ ତ୍ୟାଗ କରି ସେ ନିଶ୍ଚୟ ବୈଶାଖ ମାସରେ ବହିର୍ଗତ ହୋଇଥିଲେ। ଜ୍ୟେଷ୍ଠ 14 ଦିନ ଶିଲଙ୍ଗରୁ ନୀଳାଚଳ କୁଟୀରକୁ ଖଣ୍ଡିଏ ଦୀର୍ଘପତ୍ର ଆସିଲା। ଚିଠିରୁ ଜାଣିଲି ଏତେ ଶୀଘ୍ର ତାଙ୍କର ପୁଣି ବାହାରକୁ ଯିବାଟା କୁଟୀରବାସିନୀ ମାନଙ୍କ ମଧ୍ୟରୁ କାହାର ଅଭିପ୍ରାୟ ନଥିଲା। ଠାକୁର ମା ତ ପୁରାପୁରି ନିଷେଧ କରିଥିଲେ, କିନ୍ତୁ କିଏ ଶୁଣେ ସେ କଥା। ରଣୋନ୍ମତ ସୈନିକର ଜୀବନ, ଯାହାଙ୍କର ଆଦର୍ଶ ସାଧ୍ୟ ଥାଉ ଥାଉ ବିଶ୍ରାମ ସୁଖ ଭୋଗ ତାଙ୍କର କାମ୍ୟ ନଥିଲା। ନିରାପଦରେ ଯୋଡପାକୁଡି, କୁଚବିହାର, ଆଲିପୁରଦୁଆର, ବଗୁଡାରେ ବୁଲି 15 ଦିନ ପରେ ହାଓଡା ଫେରି ଆସିଲି। ଉତ୍ତରବଙ୍ଗରେ ସେତେବେଳେ ଖୁବ୍ ଶୀତ ଥିଲା, ପ୍ରାୟ ବୃଷ୍ଟି ହେଉଥିଲା। ରାତ୍ରିରେ ଚାଦର ରେଜେଇ ଦରକାର ପଡୁଥିଲା। ସଙ୍ଗରେ 4-5 ଜଣ ସେବକ ଥିଲେ। ଖୁବ୍ ଆନନ୍ଦ ଓ ସ୍ୱଚ୍ଛନ୍ଦରେ କେତେ ଦିନ ବିତି ଯାଇଥିଲା। ଦ୍ୱିତୀୟ ଥର ହାଓଡା ଆସି ଅସହ୍ୟ ଗ୍ରୀଷ୍ମ ଅନୁଭବ କଲି। କେତେ ଦିନ ପାଇଁ ପୁରୀ ଯାଇ ଯାତ୍ରା ବଦଳ କରି ଆସିବାର ଇଚ୍ଛା ଥିଲା, କିନ୍ତୁ ହଠାତ୍ ରାଜା ସାହେବ ଆସି ଜଣାଇଲେ ଯେ ଶିଲଙ୍ଗରେ ସମସ୍ତ ବନ୍ଦୋବସ୍ତ ହୋଇଛି, ଇଚ୍ଛା କଲେ ଆଜି ଯାଇହେବ। ଜ୍ୟେଷ୍ଠ 3 ଦିନ ଶିଲଙ୍ଗ ଯାତ୍ରା କଲି। ସେବକ 2 ଜଣ ବସରେ ଆସୁଥିଲେ। ମୁଁ ଆଗେ ଶିଲଙ୍ଗରେ ପହଞ୍ଚି ସ୍ନାନ କଲି, କିନ୍ତୁ ଭଲ ରୂପେ ମୁଣ୍ଡ ପୋଛି ପାରିଲି ନାହିଁ। ପାହାଡିଆ ଜଳ ମୁଣ୍ଡରେ ବସିଗଲା। ତୃତୀୟ ଦିନ କାଶ ଆରମ୍ଭ ହେଲା। ଶେଷ ରାତ୍ରିରୁ ଧଇଁର ପ୍ରକୋପ। ପ୍ରାଣ ଗଲା କି ଆଉ। ଡାକ୍ତର ଡାକିବାର କଥା ହେଲା। ମୁଁ ମନେ କଲି ସ୍ନାନାହାର କଲେ କିଛି ଅନ୍ୟାନ୍ୟ ଥର ପରି କମିଯିବ। ମଥା ଧୋଇଲି, ସାମାନ୍ୟ ଆହାର କଲି, କିନ୍ତୁ କିଛି ହେଲା ନାହିଁ। ଅପରାହ୍ନରେ ଆହୁରି ବୃଦ୍ଧି ପାଇଲା। ଧଇଁ ଭିତରେ କାଶ ଆଘାତରେ ଶ୍ୱାସରୁଦ୍ଧ ହୋଇଯିବାକୁ ଲାଗିଲା। ହାର୍ଟର ସ୍ପନ୍ଦନ ଅସ୍ୱାଭାବିକ ହେବାକୁ ଲାଗିଲା। ପ୍ରତି ମୁହୂର୍ତ୍ତରେ ମୃତ୍ୟୁର ସମ୍ଭାବନା ବୁଝିପାରିଲି। ଭିନ୍ନ ଗୃହର ଉପର ତାଲାରେ ଆମେ 3 ଜଣ। ଅନ୍ୟ ଘରେ ମଣି ଜ୍ୱରରେ ଶଯ୍ୟାଶାୟୀ। ମୋ ପାଖରେ କେବଳ ପ୍ରିୟବ୍ରତ। ପ୍ରୟୋଜନ ହେଲେ ତାକୁ ଅନ୍ୟ ସ୍ଥାନକୁ ମଧ୍ୟ ଯିବାକୁ ପଡୁଛି। ମନୁଷ୍ୟର ଅଭାବ ସେଦିନ ଭଲ ଭାବରେ ବୁଝିଲି। ମରିବାକୁ ଅବଶ୍ୟ ଦୁଃଖ ନାହିଁ, କିନ୍ତୁ ତୁମମାନଙ୍କୁ ଦାରୁଣ ମନୋବ୍ୟଥା ଦେଇ ଚାଲି ଆସିଛି, ଆଉ ଫେରି ଯାଇ ପାରିବି ନାହିଁ ଭାବି ଆଖିରୁ କେବଳ ଲୁହ ଝରୁଛି। ଗୋଟିଏ ଦିନ ପାଇଁ ତୁମମାନଙ୍କ ନିକଟକୁ ଯିବାକୁ ପ୍ରାଣ ଛଟପଟ ହେଉଛି। ଏଭଳି କେବେ ହୋଇନାହିଁ। ରାଜା ରାଣୀ ଆସି ଡାକ୍ତର ଡାକିବାକୁ ମଟର ପଠାଇଲେ। ବଙ୍ଗଳାର ସର୍ବଶ୍ରେଷ୍ଠ ଡାକ୍ତର ବିଧାନ ରାୟ 32 ଟଙ୍କା ଭିଜିଟ୍ ଫି ନେଇ ଆସିଲେ। ସେ ବ୍ଲଡ ପ୍ରେସର, ହାର୍ଟ, ଫୁସଫୁସ, ନାଡି ପରୀକ୍ଷା କରି କହିଲେ ଇନଫ୍ଲୁଏଞ୍ଜା ହୋଇଛି। ସାବଧାନରେ ନ ରହିଲେ ନିମୋନିଆ ହୋଇପାରେ। ବ୍ଲଡ ପ୍ରେସର ଓ ଶ୍ୱାସ ହେତୁ ହାର୍ଟର ଅବସ୍ଥା ସାଂଘାତିକ। ଜ୍ୱର 103ରୁ 104 ଡିଗ୍ରୀ ଇତ୍ୟାଦି। ସେ ଇଞ୍ଜେକ୍ସନ ଦେଲେ। ସଙ୍ଗେ ସଙ୍ଗେ ଶ୍ୱାସର ପ୍ରକୋପ କମିଗଲା। 2 ପ୍ରକାର ଔଷଧର ବ୍ୟବସ୍ଥା କରି ଡାକ୍ତର ରାୟ ଚାଲିଗଲେ। ସକାଳେ ଭୁବନକୁ ଆସିବା ପାଇଁ ଜରୁରୀ ଟେଲିଗ୍ରାମ କଲି। ପରଦିନ ସେ ଆସିଲା। ଶ୍ୱାସ କମିଯିବାରୁ ଖୁବ୍ ସୁସ୍ଥ ବୋଧ କଲି। ମନରେ ବଳ ଆସିଲା। ତେବେ କାଶ, ଛାତିରେ କଫର ସାଇଁ ସାଇଁ ଶବ୍ଦ ଓ ଜ୍ୱର 4-5 ଦିନ ରହି କ୍ରମଶଃ କମିଲା। 8ମ ଦିନ ଅନ୍ନ ପଥ୍ୟ ଦେଲେ। ଆଜିକୁ 5 ଦିନ ହେଲା ଭାତ ଖାଉଛି। ଆଉ ଭୟର କୌଣସି କାରଣ ନାହିଁ। କ୍ରମଶଃ ସ୍ୱାଭାବିକ ଅବସ୍ଥା ଫେରି ପାଇବି। ଡାକ୍ତର ରାୟଙ୍କ ସାଙ୍ଗରେ ମୋର ଟିକେ ଭାବ ହୋଇଅଛି। ତାଙ୍କୁ ମୁଁ ସ୍ଥାୟୀ ଭାବରେ ଚିକିତ୍ସାର ଭାର ଦେବାକୁ ଇଚ୍ଛା କରିଥିଲି। ସେ କହିଲେ, ଏଠାରେ ପାହାଡ ଉପରେ ବ୍ଲଡ ପ୍ରେସର ନିମିତ୍ତ ଚିକିତ୍ସାରେ କୌଣସି ଫଳ ହେବ ନାହିଁ। ଆପଣ କଲିକତା ଚାଲନ୍ତୁ, ସେଠାରେ ଚିକିତ୍ସା କରିବି। ଆପଣଙ୍କ ସ୍ୱାସ୍ଥ୍ୟ ସମ୍ପୂର୍ଣ୍ଣ ନଷ୍ଟ ହୋଇଯାଇଛି। ହାର୍ଟର ଅବସ୍ଥା ଅତି ଖରାପ। କେତେବେଳେ ଯେ କଣ ହେବ କିଛି କହିହେବ ନାହିଁ। ଅତି ଥଣ୍ଡା, ଅତି ଗରମ ଆପଣଙ୍କର ସହ୍ୟ ହେବ ନାହିଁ। ଟ୍ରେନ ବା ମଟରରେ ଯାତାୟାତ ମଧ୍ୟ ବିପଜ୍ଜନକ। ପୁରୀ ବା ୱାଲଟିୟର ଭଳି ଜାଗାରେ ରହିଲେ ହୁଏତ ଆଉ 2-4 ବର୍ଷ ବଞ୍ଚି ପାରନ୍ତି। 3-4 ଦିନ ମଧ୍ୟରେ ଏଠାରୁ ଚାଲିଯିବାକୁ ପରାମର୍ଶ ଦେଇ ଡାକ୍ତର ଆଜି କଲିକତା ଗଲେ। ରାଜାଙ୍କର ମଧ୍ୟ ସେଇ ମତ। କିନ୍ତୁ ଥରେ ଏ ଜନ୍ମ ପାଇଁ ମଠ ଓ ଯୋଗମାୟାକୁ ଦେଖିଯିବା କର୍ତ୍ତବ୍ୟ। ଏତେ ନିକଟରୁ ଚାଲିଗଲେ ଆଉ ବୋଧହୁଏ ଅବସର ପାଇବି ନାହିଁ। ମହା ସମସ୍ୟା। ମାଉସୀ ମାଙ୍କୁ ଆନନ୍ଦରେ ରଖିବାକୁ ଚେଷ୍ଟା କରିବ। ଅନ୍ୟାନ୍ୟ କୁଶଳ ତୁମେମାନେ ମୋର ଆଶୀର୍ବାଦ ଜାଣିବ। ଇତି ଶୁଭାନୁଧ୍ୟାୟୀ ଠାକୁର। ଏହାପରେ ଜ୍ୟେଷ୍ଠ 24 ଦିନ ହାଓଡାରୁ ଚିଠି ଆସିଲା। ଗତକାଲି ଦିନ ଗୋଟାଏ ବେଳେ ଶିଲଙ୍ଗ ମେଲରେ ହାଓଡା ଆସିଛି। ଶରୀରର ଅବସ୍ଥା ବୁଝି ଆଉ ମଠକୁ ଯିବାକୁ ସାହସ ହେଲା ନାହିଁ ବୋଲି ମନ ଖରାପ ହେଉଛି। ଆଉ ବୋଧହୁଏ ଯୋଗମାୟାଙ୍କ ସଙ୍ଗରେ ଦେଖା ହେବ ନାହିଁ। ଆଗାମୀ ପରଦିନ ସୋମବାର ପୁରୀ ଯାଇ ମଙ୍ଗଳବାର ସକାଳେ ପୁରୀରେ ପହଞ୍ଚିବି। ତେବେ ଡାକ୍ତର ହାତରେ ସବୁ ନିର୍ଭର କରୁଛି। ଯଦି 1-2 ଦିନ ବିଳମ୍ବ କରିବାକୁ ହୁଏ ତେବେ ପୁନରାୟ ଜଣାଇବି, ନହେଲେ ଏହା ହିଁ ଶେଷ ପତ୍ର। ଆଗରୁ କହିଛି 1336 ସାଲରେ ଦାର୍ଜିଲିଂରେ ଠାକୁର ମହାପ୍ରୟାଣର ସୂଚନା ଦେଖା ଦେଇଥିଲା। ଠାକୁର ମହାପ୍ରଭୁଙ୍କର ମହାପ୍ରୟାଣର ସୂଚନା ଦେଖାଇଥିଲା। ତମଲୁକରେ ପ୍ରବଳ ଜ୍ୱର, ଶିଲଂରେ ଦାରୁଣ ପୀଡ଼ା, ଏହା ସବୁ ତାଙ୍କର ଆସନ୍ନ ଦେହପାତର ପ୍ରସ୍ତୁତି। ଡାକ୍ତର ବିଧାନ ରାୟଙ୍କ ଭବିଷ୍ୟତବାଣୀ କିନ୍ତୁ ଆଶ୍ଚର୍ଯ୍ୟ ଭାବରେ ସତ୍ୟ ହୋଇଛି। ଖୁବ ଭଲ ଭାବରେ ତାଙ୍କ ହୃଦଯନ୍ତ୍ର ପରୀକ୍ଷା କରି ଡାକ୍ତର କହିଥିଲେ, ଆପଣଙ୍କ ହାର୍ଟର ଯାହା ଅବସ୍ଥା, ସେଥିରେ ବଡ଼ ଜୋର 5-6 ବର୍ଷରୁ ଆଉ ଅଧିକ ଦିନ ତାହା କାର୍ଯ୍ୟ କରିବ ନାହିଁ। କିପରି କହୁଛନ୍ତି? ଆୟୁ କଥା କ'ଣ କୁହାଯାଇପାରେ? ଠାକୁର କୌତୂହଳୀ ହୋଇ ଜାଣିବା ପାଇଁ ପ୍ରଶ୍ନ କଲେ। ତାଙ୍କ ପ୍ରଶ୍ନରେ ବିଧାନ ରାୟ କୁଆଡ଼େ କହିଥିଲେ, ଆୟୁ କଥା କୁହାଯାଇପାରେ ନା ସତ୍ୟ, କିନ୍ତୁ ଯନ୍ତ୍ରଟା କେତେ ଦିନ ଚଳିବ ତାହା କୁହାଯାଇପାରେ। ଯେଉଁମାନେ ଘଣ୍ଟା ଭଲ ମରାମତି କରନ୍ତି, ସେମାନେ ଘଣ୍ଟାର ସ୍ପନ୍ଦନ ଶୁଣି କହିଦିଅନ୍ତି ଯେ ତାହାର ହେୟାର ସ୍ପ୍ରିଙ୍ଗ ଆଉ କେତେ ଦିନ କାମ କରିବ, କେତେ ଦିନ ଚଳିବ, ଦାମ ଶେଷ ହେବାକୁ ଆଉ କେତେ ଡେରି। ଏହା ମଧ୍ୟ ତାହା। ଆପଣଙ୍କର ହାର୍ଟର ଆଭ୍ୟନ୍ତରୀଣ ଅବସ୍ଥା ଭଲ କରି ଦେଖି ଯାହା ବୁଝୁଛି, ସେଥିରେ ଏ ଯନ୍ତ୍ର 5-6 ବର୍ଷ ଚଳିବା ହିଁ ଯଥେଷ୍ଟ। ତାଠାରୁ ବେଶୀ ଦିନ କାର୍ଯ୍ୟ କରିବ ବୋଲି ମନେ ହେଉନାହିଁ। ପୁରୀରେ ପହଞ୍ଚି ଡାକ୍ତର ରାୟଙ୍କ ମନ୍ତବ୍ୟ ଜଣାଇ ଠାକୁର ସ୍ମିତ ମୁଖରେ କହିଥିଲେ, ବିଧିର ବିଧାନ ଅକାଟ୍ୟ। ତାର ଅର୍ଥ ହୁଏତ ଏହି ଯେ ଦୈବ ବଳରେ ଆୟୁ ବୃଦ୍ଧିର ସମ୍ଭାବନା ଥିଲେ ମଧ୍ୟ ଠାକୁର ତାହା ଇଚ୍ଛା କରନ୍ତି ନାହିଁ। ସେ ବିଶ୍ୱର ସାଧାରଣ ବିଧାନରେ ଚଳିବାକୁ ମନସ୍ଥ କରିଥିଲେ। ଡାକ୍ତର ରାୟ କହିବାକୁ ଇଚ୍ଛା କରିଥିଲେ ଯେ ଯନ୍ତ୍ର ବିକଳ ହେଲେ ମଧ୍ୟ ଅଭାବିତ ଉପାୟରେ କେବେ କେବେ ତାହାର ବୈକଲ୍ୟ ମଧ୍ୟ ଭଲ ହୋଇଯାଏ। ଏହା ହିଁ ତାଙ୍କ ମତରେ ଆୟୁ। କୌଣସି ବଡ଼ ଡାକ୍ତର ଜନ୍ମ ମୃତ୍ୟୁ ବ୍ୟାପାରରେ ଦୈବକୁ ଅସ୍ୱୀକାର କରନ୍ତି ନାହିଁ କି କରିପାରନ୍ତି ନାହିଁ। ସେ ଯାନ୍ତ୍ରିକ ନିୟମ କଥା କହିଥିଲେ। ସେ ନିୟମକୁ ଓଲଟାଇ ଦେବାର ଇଚ୍ଛା ଠାକୁରଙ୍କର ନଥିଲା। ଆଷାଢ଼ ମାସରେ ପୁରୀ ଆସି ପ୍ରାୟ 1.5 ମାସ ବିଶ୍ରାମ ନେଇ ଟିକେ ସୁସ୍ଥ ବୋଧ କରିବା ମାତ୍ରେ ଠାକୁର ମା ଓ ଆମମାନଙ୍କୁ ନେଇ ଠାକୁର ଗୁରୁଧାମକୁ ଯାତ୍ରା କଲେ। ଠାକୁର ମା ଯେଉଁ 3-4 ମାସ ଆମ ମା ମାନେ ଅବସର ପାଇବା ମାତ୍ରେ ତାଙ୍କ ନିକଟରୁ ଠାକୁରଙ୍କ କଥା ଶୁଣନ୍ତି। ତାଙ୍କ ବାଲ୍ୟ କୈଶୋରର କେତେକ ତଥ୍ୟ ଗୋବିନ୍ଦ ମୋହିନୀଙ୍କ ନିକଟରୁ ପାଇଛୁ। ମା ଠାକୁରାଣୀ ଦେଖିବାକୁ କିପରି ଥିଲେ, ବନ୍ଧୁ ପାଇଁ ପାତ୍ରୀ ଦେଖାଇବାକୁ ନେଇ ଭଟ୍ଟାଚାର୍ଯ୍ୟ ଗୃହର କନିଷ୍ଠ ଜାମାତା ହରିପଦ ମୁଖାର୍ଜୀ ମହାଶୟ କିପରି ଭାବରେ ଠାକୁରଙ୍କୁ ଖାଲି ସହରକୁ ଯାଇଥିଲେ, ଏଭଳି ଆହୁରି କେତେକ ଘଟଣା ବର୍ଣ୍ଣନା କରିଥିଲେ। ଆମେ ଯେତେବେଳେ ବୃଦ୍ଧାଙ୍କୁ ଦେଖିବାକୁ ପାଉଛୁ, ସେତେବେଳେ ତାଙ୍କର ଅନେକ ସ୍ମୃତି ଭ୍ରଂଶ ଘଟିଛି। ସେ କହନ୍ତି, ଏବେ ଆଉ କ'ଣ କିଛି ମନେ ଅଛି? ସବୁ ଯେପରି ଗୋଳମାଳିଆ ହୋଇଯାଇଛି। ଯାହା ହେଉ, ପୁରୀରେ ଥରେ ତାଙ୍କର ରଥ ଦେଖିବାର ଇଚ୍ଛା ଥିଲା। ନଳିନୀ କଲ୍ୟାଣରୁ ତାହା ହେଲା ବୋଲି କହି ବୃଦ୍ଧା ଅତ୍ୟନ୍ତ ଆନନ୍ଦ ପ୍ରକାଶ କରିଥିଲେ। ପୁରୀରୁ ସଦଳ ବେଳେ ଆସି ହାଓଡ଼ାରେ 203 55 ତଲା ରୋଡ ବା ମୋ ଦାଦା ମହାଶୟଙ୍କ ଗୃହରେ ଉପସ୍ଥିତ ହେଲୁ। ଠାକୁରଙ୍କର ଅନ୍ୟତମ ଗୃହସ୍ଥ ଭକ୍ତ ଶିଷ୍ୟ ବୋଲି ଏକଦା ଯେ ସାରସ୍ୱତ ସଂଘରେ ବହୁ ପରିଚିତ ଥିଲେ, ସଜ୍ଞାନରେ ତାଙ୍କୁ ସେହି ପ୍ରଥମ ଥର ପାଇଁ ଚିହ୍ନିଲି। ଦାର୍ଜିଲିଂ ଯିବା ପଥରେ ତାଙ୍କ ଘରେ ଓଳିଏକି ଦିନେ ଥିଲି, ତାହା ପୂର୍ବରୁ କହିଛି, କିନ୍ତୁ ସେଥର ସାକ୍ଷାତଟା ମନେ ନାହିଁ। ଏହିଥର ହିଁ ଠିକ୍ ପରିଚୟ ହେଲା। 203 ନମ୍ବରର ଉପର ତାଲା ବାରଣ୍ଡାରେ ଠାକୁର ବସିଥାନ୍ତି। ତାଙ୍କୁ ପ୍ରଣାମ କରି ଦାଦା ମହାଶୟ ପଙ୍ଖା ଧରି ବିଞ୍ଚୁଥାନ୍ତି। ଠାକୁରଙ୍କୁ ଯେପରି ଖୁବ୍ ଜୋରରେ ପବନ ଲାଗିବ, ସେଥିପାଇଁ ସେ ଝଡ଼ ପରି ପଙ୍ଖା ଚଳାଉଥାନ୍ତି। ସେ ଘଟଣା କେବେ କେଉଁଦିନ ତାହା କହିପାରିବି ନାହିଁ, କିନ୍ତୁ ମୋ ମନରେ ତାଙ୍କର ଛବିଟା ସେହି ରକମର। ବଙ୍ଗାଳୀ ଗୃହରେ ସେ ସମୟରେ ଫଣୀବାବୁଙ୍କ ଭଳି ସ୍ୱାସ୍ଥ୍ୟ ସମୃଦ୍ଧ କ୍ଷତ୍ର ତେଜ ମଣ୍ଡିତ ଦେହ ବେଶୀ ସୁଲଭ ନଥିଲା। ରଙ୍ଗ ଥିଲା କଳା, ଟିକିଏ ଘନ କଳା ସତ୍ୟ, କିନ୍ତୁ ପିଟା ଲୁହା ଭଳି ପ୍ରାଣ ସାର ବପୁ। ଦୀର୍ଘାକୃତି ସୁଠାମ ମନୁଷ୍ୟଟିକୁ ଦେଖିଲେ ମନରେ ଶ୍ରଦ୍ଧା ସମ୍ଭ୍ରମ ଜାଗେ। ଅନ୍ତତଃ ମୋର ତ ଜାଗିଥିଲା। ଠାକୁରଙ୍କୁ ଦେଖି ପ୍ରଥମେ ତାଙ୍କ ପ୍ରତି ମୋର ଯେଉଁ ଅବିମିଶ୍ର ଭୟର ଅନୁଭୂତି, ତାହା ତ ପୂର୍ବରୁ କହିଛି। ହାଓଡ଼ାରେ ପହଞ୍ଚି ଏହି ଭଦ୍ରଲୋକଙ୍କୁ ଦେଖି ମଧ୍ୟ ଭୟ ହେଲା। ଅଥଚ ଦାର୍ଜିଲିଂରେ ରାଜା ସାହେବଙ୍କୁ ଦେଖିଛି। ସେ ମଧ୍ୟ ଦୀର୍ଘଛନ୍ଦ ସୁପୁରୁଷ, ପୂର୍ଣ୍ଣ ସ୍ୱାସ୍ଥ୍ୟବାନ, କିନ୍ତୁ ତାଙ୍କୁ ଭୟ କରିନାହିଁ। କେବଳ ମା ମାନଙ୍କ ମଧ୍ୟରେ ମୁଁ ମନୁଷ୍ୟ ହୋଇଥିବାରୁ ଅଚିହ୍ନା ଲୋକ ଦେଖିଲେ ସଂକୋଚରେ ଅସ୍ଥିର ହୋଇପଡ଼େ, ଭୟରେ ପଳାଇଯାଏ। ରାଜା ସାହେବଙ୍କ ସମ୍ମୁଖକୁ ମଧ୍ୟ କେବେ ହେଲେ ଯିବାକୁ ଇଚ୍ଛା କରେ ନାହିଁ। ସେ କେତେଦିନ ଧରି ଆଦରରେ କୋଳକୁ ନେବାକୁ ଇଚ୍ଛା କରିଛନ୍ତି, କିନ୍ତୁ ମୁଁ ଯାଇନାହିଁ। ତା ବୋଲି ତାଙ୍କୁ ଦେଖି ଭୟ କରିନାହିଁ। କିନ୍ତୁ ସେଦିନ ଯେତେବେଳେ ବାବା ମୋତେ ପାଖକୁ ଡାକି ପରିଚୟ କରାଇଦେଲେ, ଲୀଳା, ଏ ହେଉଛନ୍ତି ତୁମ ମାଙ୍କ ବାବା, ତୁମର ଦାଦା ମହାଶୟ। ମୁଁ ସେତେବେଳେ ବିରାଡ଼ି ଛୁଆ ପରି ବାବାଙ୍କ 2 ଆଣ୍ଠୁ ଭିତରେ ପଶିଗଲି। ମୋତେ ଭୀଷଣ ଭୟ ହେଉଥାଏ। ପଙ୍ଖାଟିକୁ ବୋଧହୁଏ ମାଙ୍କ ହାତକୁ ଦେଇ, ସେତେବେଳେ ପ୍ରକୃତରେ ତାଙ୍କ ହାତରେ ପଙ୍ଖା ଥିଲା କି ନାହିଁ ଆଜି ତାହା ମଧ୍ୟ ଠିକ୍ ହେଉନାହିଁ। ଦାଦା ମହାଶୟ ମୋତେ ହାତ ବଢ଼ାଇ ଡାକିଲେ, କୋଳକୁ ଆସ ଦିଦିମଣି। मोर कोल को जीवाक इच्छा है ना बाबा को मध्य विश्वास है ना केजाणे जदि बलपूर्वक ठेली दियंती शीघ्र तांकु छाड़ी दे दीदी सरजुमा उनको जाबुड़ी धरली घरे हास्यरोड़ उठिला सेते बेलकु दीदी मते कोल को टाणी नहीं थांती ठाकुर पुणी कहले एई मोर बड़ झील संतोष लीला ए तुमर दीदीमणि संगे संगे मुख टेकी अनाइली किए रे बड़ झील बाबांकर दार्जिलिंग रे राणी साहेबांका उपरे मोर हिंसा होइतिला एठारे मध्य बड़ झील बोली शुणी मते आदौ भल लागिला नाही किंतु मुह टेकी अनाइबा मात्रे आखिरे आखि मिलीगला उज्ज्वल गौरवर्णा सौम्यकांति मातृमूर्ति जनक संगरे हसी दे से हाथ बढ़ाइले दीदी कोल छाड़ी सही क्षणी निर्भय रे मु तांको कोल को चली गली तांकु आउ केबे हिंसा करि परिली नाही तांकु आउ केबे हिंसा करि परिली नाही काहे कि ताहा कहि परिबी नाही दाइडी कोन रखिबी
आज्ञा जय गुरु
जय गुरु I'll summarize in English. Here Gilama is narrating the events of Bengal calendar year 1337. Thakur started his journey from the very beginning of the year. Just before that, Thakur returned to Puri in the month of Chaitra. That's March and April in English calendar for a few days. While he was away in Tamaluk, he wrote a letter back to Nilachal Kutir about his travel plans. He was planning to visit Koklamaka, then Jagatsi. However, due to the health conditions in Tamalukka, he was uncertain about that. Though the dates are unclear, Lilama is predicting he must have left Nilachal Kutir in the summer month of Vaisakha, as he wrote back a letter dated Jesta. From that letter, Lilama figured out not many were happy in Kutira on that trip of Thakur. Thakur was outright against that journey. However, who listens? He gave an analogy of a battle-ready soldier to that of a Thakur's life. He had no luxury of resting in his life. In that letter, Thakur had narrated his safe travel to Jodhpakodi, Kuch Bihar, Alipurdwar, Baguda, and his return back to Howrah in 15 days. It was very cold in North Bengal during those days. It was raining along with being cold. He had to use shawls and comforters. He had 4-5 companions with him. He was a bit relaxed in those 2 weeks. After returning to Howrah, he experienced an unbearable summer. He planned to visit Puri for a few days, but that plan was put to rest by another proposal from Rajsahab. He had planned for Thakur's stay in Shillong. Thakur traveled to Shillong from Howrah in the month of Jesta. 2 of his travel companions were coming to Shillong by a bus. Thakur took a risk and took early bath in Shillong and didn't wipe his head, ending up falling sick. He wrote in detail about the high temperature and his heart conditions. After a serious call, the famous doctor Bidhan Roy visited Thakur and treated him with injections and doses, and did suggest he go to plains, and as the climate in Shillong is unsuitable for asthma. Dr. Bidhan Roy made some predictions about Thakur's physical conditions and suggested some care plans. Rajasahab concurred with doctor's advice. Thakur was planning to visit Koklamaka and Jagamayama for the very last time, as he was apprehensive about his plan. He wrote to keep Mausi and Govind Mohin happy in Nilachal Kutir. There was another letter as he wrote after reaching back to Howrah. On that, he expressed how health conditions prevented him from visiting Koklamaka. He wrote that he is going to travel back to Nilachal Kutir shortly. Once he returned back to Puri in the month of Ashada, there are many interesting details about his trip. His introduction to Dr. Bidhan Roy and funnily made a statement, Bidhano Akatya, which means destiny is inevitable. He rested about a month in Puri, then started a trip to Gurudam, taking along Lilama and other companions. On that trip, Lilama had visited Dada Mahasaya and Didimani in Howrah. She recalls her fear of Dada Mahasaya. She said how she is jealous about Didimani, which Thakur used to refer to as elder daughter. Jayaguru.
श्री छमुरिया जी अंजलि पाती छी अरुणा कणाए पाई अरुणा कणाए पाई श्री আজি অঞ্জলি পাতিছি করুণা কণায় পাই করুণা কণায় পাই ভকতি সুতারি গুন্থা মন ভোলা ভকতি সুতারি গুন্থা মন ভোলা চরণে ভেটুছি সাই চরণে ভেটুছি সাই করুণা কণায় পাই করুণা কণায় পাই তুমি পুরা পতিত পাবনা মো পতিত চরণা মাগুছি চরণা তুমি ঠাকুরা পতিত পাবনা মো পতিত জনা মাগুছি চরণা কটাক্ষরে ধরে চাহিদি আবারে কটাক্ষরে ধরে চাহিদি আবারে সবু পাপ জীব ধোই সবু পাপ জীব ধোই করুণা কণায় পাই করুণা কণায় পাই শ্রীছামুরে আজি অঞ্জলি পাতিছি করুণা কণায় পাই করুণা কণায় পাই নিঃসহায় হই ঘুরি বুলুথিলি কেউ ভাগ্য বলে তুমকু ভেটিলি নিঃসহায় হই ঘুরি বুলুথিলি কেউ ভাগ্য বলে তুমকু ভেটিলি মথারে মোহরা ଥିଲେ তুমকারা মথারে মোহরা ଥିଲେ তুমকারা জীবে মোহে ধন্য হই জীবে মোহে ধন্য হই করুণা কণায় পাই করুণা কণায় পাই সারা সংসার মিছ মরিচিকা তুমি কসাতা পিতা মাতা সখা সারা সংসার মিছ মরিচিকা তুমি কসাতা পিতা মাতা সখা अभय दिया हे करुणा सागरा, अभय दिया हे करुणा सागरा, श्री चरणी धाव दे, श्री चरणी धाव दे, करुणा कणाए पाई, करुणा कणाए पाई, श्री छमुरियाजी अंजलि पतीछि, करुणा कणाए पाई, करुणा कणाए पाई, भक्ति सुतारे गुंथमान फूल, भक्ति सुतारे गुंथमान फूल, चरणी भेटुछि साई, चरणी भेटुछि साई, करुणा कणाए पाई, करुणा कणाए पाई, करुणा कणाए पाई।
Jayaguru, Pansara Pathe, Part 1. Sri Sri Thakur has written 5 books portraying the philosophy of his life and the process of spiritual practices. He wrote, abiding by the rules of my book, Brahmacharya Sadhana, one's mind will become pure. With purity in mind, practice minor yogic practices such as asanas and mudras as described in Jayaguru, and discuss knowledge as chronicled in Jayaguru. The spiritual practices narrated in Jayaguru leads to the realization of God in subtle form. Following that, by carrying out the spiritual practices discussed in Tantrika Guru, one can perceive God in gross form. After the realization of God, by performing the spiritual practices as described in Premika Guru, one's life can be fulfilled by enjoying the divine play of God. Although he has advised this way to the general population, he did not follow the same sequence in his life. He first had a version of God in the physical form by performing spiritual practices on the path of Tantra, and then engaged himself in the spiritual practices based on the Jnana and Yoga. He realized God in subtle form. In the end, he achieved Prema and enjoyed the company of God in physical form. The spiritual practice of Tantra is in a gross form. It provides happiness, peace, and wealth in this life. However, to study the type of conscious entity behind the jet black curtains of death, which would eventually fall on this life, he engaged in the practice of Jnana. There is no other path than Tantra to realize and visualize one's Ishta in the gross form. At first, Sri Sri Thakur followed this path by emphasizes personal effort. One day Sri Sri Thakur said, I saw God in the form of my Ishta in the path of Tantra. The goddess appeared in the human form. I noticed her face appearing pale and her eyes filled with tears. My mind was disturbed by that view. My thirst did not quench by seeing her physical form. Hence, I gave up the form and got engaged in the spiritual practice of formless. The tantric practitioner became a practitioner of dhyana in order to realize that single entity in the form of Brahmana, Atma, and Bhagavan. Sri Sri Thakura continued his spiritual practices even after achieving perfection by realizing Sri Bhagavan. The trifecta of spiritual principle is also present in the form of existence, consciousness, and bliss. Sri Sri Thakura is Jnanani as he has realized Brahmana, a yogi as he has witnessed Paramatma, and a premika as he has found Bhagavana in the path of devotion. Due to the confluence of all the principles, he is solely the Guru. In this way, when his spiritual practice of visualize God in physical form descends to gross form via the state of the formless, he became the great saint who is firmly established in his own self. At first, Sri Sri Thakura's Ishta Devi was in her own form. Then she became formless, and then she revealed herself to him in the most beautiful form in the path of Prema and instructed him to be a Guru. Upon becoming a Guru, as per the instructions of the goddess, how he had agreement with her to offer salvation to his devotees is discussed in a varieties of ways in this volume. Jayaguru.
Jayaguru. Discussion आरंभ करिया. Quickly summarize and last week ru किछिटा question ते भलो भाबे answer हे पार नथिला. They are actually very much linked with IGM जोटा पढिले. So I will try to go back there. Last question especially जन भाई पचारथिले. I have a guess who that is, but I don't want to guess. So we can go back to that question and answer, and then any other questions we'll pick it up. So आज mostly हम पढ़िले अंतर ऋतु गुड़ाक बेसी सांघातिक तेणु ताकू जय करवा टिके कष्ट काम से अंतर जगत सहित आम संग्राम करिकी ताकू जय करबा पड़िबो. संग्राम अंतर चिंताधारा गुड़ा संग्राम कर यू नीड टू नो व्हाट इज योर किए शत्रु किए मित्र आरंभ कर डिस्कसन कर मनर चंचल अवस्था तो फिकुलनेस माइंड तो केमती स्थिर करा जाय परिबो तार गोटे उपाय दउछन रिपु संयम. रिपु हला षड रिपु ऑल इंटरनल टू आवर बॉडी काम क्रोध मोह लोभ मोह मद आश्चर्य गोटे गोटे करिकी रिपु मान को आलोचना कराई केमिति से दमन करिया पड़िबो. मु तो डिटेल को जाउनी अपन तो सुनिले ताधरे दीटा उपाय दियाई. गोटे हला to suppress that वृत्ति आ गोटे हला do the opposite of that वृत्ति. तेणु आपन कहबे ताले कोटा हम सिलेक्ट करिया सेमिति किछि नै दीटा करिया पड़िबो. आपनकर जदी कामना बहुत रहुची ताधरे आपण जदी चेष्टा करिवे तार जो ऑपोजिट वृत्तिटा प्रेम ठाकुर भल पाइबा सेटा केबे हबनी. जेतबेले आपण कामना गुडा भर्ती कि थिबो तो ठाकुर भल पाइबा हबो. कामना के कमे पड़िबो. खाली कामना कमे भी कहिले ठाकुर प्रति भल पाइबा बढ़िबनी. बुझिपारछन्ते. तेणु ए कामटा नले से कामटा दीटा जाक काम एका समय करिया पड़िबो ଯେତେବେଳେ ନେଗେଟିଭ ପର୍ସନଟା କମିଯିବ ପଜିଟିଭ ପର୍ସନଟା ବଢିଯିବ। ଦିଟା ଆମକୁ ଜାଣିବା ଦରକାର ଆଉ ତା ଉପରେ ଇଏ କରିବା ଦରକାର। ତେଣୁ ଗୋଟେ ବଡ ଜିନିଷ ହେଲା କାହା ଦୋଷ ଦର୍ଶନ କରିବା ଅନୁଚିତ। କାହିଁକି ନା ସମସ୍ତଙ୍କ ଭିତରେ ଆମେ ଡିସ୍କସନ କରିଛେ କେତେଥର ଯେ ଆମେ ଭାବିବା ଯେ ସମସ୍ତଙ୍କ ଭିତରେ ଠାକୁର ଅଛନ୍ତି, ଠାକୁର ସମସ୍ତଙ୍କ ଭିତରେ ଅଛନ୍ତି, ସେ ଲୋକଟା ଖରାପ ବୋଲି ଆମେ କେମିତି କହିବା? କିନ୍ତୁ ଯଦି ତାଙ୍କର କିଛି ଖରାପ ଗୁଣ ତାଙ୍କ ଭିତରେ ଏକ୍ଜିବିଟ୍ କରୁଛନ୍ତି, ସେ ଗୁଣଟାକୁ ଭଲ ବୋଲି କହିବାଟା ଠିକ ନୁହଁ। ଗୁଣଟା ଖରାପ, so that you don't follow that, you don't practice that. କିନ୍ତୁ ସେ ଯେତେବେଳେ ଠାକୁର ତା ଭିତରେ ଅଛନ୍ତି, that person cannot be that. So that's the distinction that you have to draw. ତେଣୁ ଯେତେବେଳେ ତା ଦେହରେ ଟ୍ରିକ୍ ସବୁ ଦିଆ ହେଇଛି, ଯେ ଲାଷ୍ଟ ଆଡକୁ ଦେଇଥିଲେ ପଏଣ୍ଟ ବାଇ ପଏଣ୍ଟ, ଯେ ଭଗବାନଙ୍କ ନାମ ରୂପ ଲୀଳାଦିଗ ଇତ୍ୟାଦିର ନଲେଜ ଟା ଥାଇକିରି ଲୀଳା ପଠନ, କାରଣ ଠାକୁରଙ୍କ ଲୀଳା ଯଦି ପଢିବା, ତାଙ୍କ କଥା ଶୁଣିବାକୁ ଭଲ ଲାଗିବ, ତାଙ୍କ ପ୍ରତି ଆମର ପ୍ରେମ ବଢିବ ଇତ୍ୟାଦି। ବିଗ୍ରହ ସ୍ଥାପନ କରି ସେବା ପୂଜା କଲେ ତା ଦ୍ୱାରା ଗୋଟେ ଆପଣଙ୍କର ମାନେ you get a little bit of a discipline around you, and ତାଙ୍କ ପ୍ରତି again love ଟା ବଢିବ। ଭଗବତ ପ୍ରାପ୍ତି ପାଇଁ ପ୍ରବଳ ଆକାଂକ୍ଷା ଥିବା ଦରକାର, ଇଚ୍ଛା ଥିବା ଦରକାର, ନହେଲେ କାହିଁକି ଆପଣ କରିବା ପାଇଁ ଚେଷ୍ଟା କରିବେ। ତାପରେ କେତେ ଗୁଡେ କୁବୃତ୍ତି ଗୁଡା ଲେଖା ହେଇଛି, ପ୍ରମାଦ ଇତ୍ୟାଦି ବୃତ୍ତିକୁ କଣ୍ଟ୍ରୋଲ କରିବା ପାଇଁ। ଲାଷ୍ଟ ଏଣ୍ଡ ଅଫ ଦ୍ୟାଟ ସେକ୍ସନ ଏଇ ଜିନିଷ ଗୁଡା ଥିଲା। ଆମେ ଏଇଠି I'm just going to stop the discussion, but we'll come back to each of these things time and time again. Last ଥରକ ଆମେ କଥା ହଉଥିଲେ ଗୋଟେ ଉପାୟ ତା ଦେହରେ ଦିଆ ହେଇଥିଲା କେମିତି ସମସ୍ତଙ୍କ ପ୍ରତି ସଦ୍ଭାବନାଟା ବଢିବ। ତା ଦେହରେ ଥିଲା ଯେ ଆପଣ ଶୋଇଲା ବେଳକୁ ସମସ୍ତଙ୍କର ଭଲ ଚିନ୍ତା କରି ଶୋଇବେ। ତା ଦେହରେ ମୁଁ ଆଉ ଗୋଟେ କଥା କହୁଥିଲି, ଜଣେ କେନ୍ଦ୍ର ପ୍ରତିନିଧି ଥରେ ଆସିଥିଲେ, କହିଥିଲେ ଆମକୁ ସେଇଟା କରିବା ପାଇଁ। that is effective. I've seen that work. ଯଦି ଆପଣଙ୍କର କାହା ପ୍ରତି ଗୋଟେ ଖରାପ ଧାରଣା ଅଛି, up to a point, ବିଦ୍ୱେଷ ଅଛି, ବିଦ୍ୱେଷଟା ହେଲା କଣ ନା ଯେତେବେଳେ କାହାର ଗୁଣରେ ଦୋଷ ଦର୍ଶନ କରିବ, ଅସୂୟା, ସେଟା କୁହନ୍ତି, ଅସୂୟାରୁ ବିଦ୍ୱେଷ ଆସିଯାଏ। ସେ ଲୋକଟା ଯାହା କହିଲା ବି ଆପଣଙ୍କୁ ସେଟା ଖରାପ ଲାଗିବ। ମେ ବି somebody in our Sangha, maybe somebody outside of Sangha that we work with on a regular basis. It could be your somebody in your family. ତାଙ୍କୁ ଗୋଟେ ଦିଆହେଇଥିଲା ସେ ଟ୍ରିକ୍ଟା, and it works. ସକାଳୁ ଉଠିବେ, ଠାକୁରଙ୍କୁ ଟିକେ ଚିନ୍ତା କରିବେ, ଠାକୁର ଚିନ୍ତା କରି ସାରିଲା ପରେ ସିଏ ଯୋଉ ବ୍ୟକ୍ତିଙ୍କ ପ୍ରତି ଆପଣଙ୍କର ଏଇ ମନୋଭାବଟା ଅଛି, ହୁଏତ ସେ ଭଲ କାମ କରନ୍ତି, ଖରାପ କାମ କରନ୍ତି, ଆପଣଙ୍କୁ ସବୁବେଳେ ଖରାପ ଲାଗୁଛି, so what you do is start sending positive vibes. ତା ଦେହରେ କଣ ହୁଏ, ଆପଣଙ୍କ ମନ ଚେଞ୍ଜ ହୁଏ, ତାଙ୍କ ମନ ବି ଚେଞ୍ଜ ହେଇଯାଏ। So ଗୋଟେ ସିମ୍ପଲ ଜିନିଷ କହିକିରି ଆଉ stop and open it up for question. ଏଗୁଡାକ ଏ ଯୋଉ ପଜିଟିଭ ଥିଙ୍କିଂ କଲେ କଣ ହୁଏ? There are three things. ଗୋଟେ ବଡ ଜିନିଷଟା ହେଲା ଆପଣଙ୍କର ନେଗେଟିଭ ବୃତ୍ତି କରିବାକୁ ଇଚ୍ଛା ହବ। ସେକେଣ୍ଡ ଥିଙ୍ଗଟା ହେଲା ଆପଣଙ୍କ ଗୋଟେ ସଂସ୍କାର କ୍ରିଏଟ ହବ। ସେ ସଂସ୍କାର ଏଇ ଜନ୍ମରେ କାମ କରିବ ଭଲରେ, even if you are unlucky enough to come back again, it will help you. That is what ସଂସ୍କାର is. And then the third thing is ଯୋଉ ଭଲ କାମଟା କରିବେ ତାର ଗୋଟେ ଭଲ ଫଳ ମିଳିବ। Then it comes back and doubles as doing something good. So simple ଜିନିଷଟା ହେଲା ଆପଣ ଯଦି ସବୁବେଳେ ମନଟାକୁ ସଦ୍ଭାବନାରେ ପୂର୍ଣ୍ଣ କଲେ, ତାହେଲେ କଣ ହବ, ଯଦି କାହାର ଦୋଷ ଦେଖିବେ ଆପଣ ଦୋଷ ଭଳିଆ ଲାଗିବନି। You will have enough power to ignore that. You will have enough power to get above that. So ଏଗୁଡାକ ପଜିଟିଭ ଥିଙ୍କିଂ ର ବହୁତ ଗୁଡେ ଭଲ ଜିନିଷ। So I will stop here, only 2-3 minutes left. So any other questions anybody has, we can, or questions about this we can discuss.
ଭାଇ ଆପଣ କହିଲେ ଯୋଉ ଯାହାଙ୍କ ପ୍ରତି ଅଛି ବିଦ୍ୱେଷ, ସକାଳୁ ଉଠିକି ସେଣ୍ଡ ପଜିଟିଭ ଭାଇବ୍ସ, ତା ମାନେ କଣ ତାଙ୍କର ଭଲ କିଛି ଗୋଟେ ହଉ ସେମିତି ଚିନ୍ତା କରିବା ନା କଣ?
ହଁ, ନାଇଁ, ଦିଟା ଜିନିଷ ଚିନ୍ତା କରିବେ, ଦିଟା ତିନିଟା ଜିନିଷ। ଗୋଟେ ହେଲା ସିଏ ଜଣେ ଭଲ ଲୋକ, ଯଦି ତାଙ୍କ ଖରାପ ଗୁଣଟା ଦେଖିଛନ୍ତି, କାରଣ ଖରାପ ଗୁଣଟା ଯଦି ଭଲ କହିବେ ସେଟା ନିଜ ପ୍ରତି ଖରାପ। ଯଦି ଖରାପ ଗୁଣ ଦେଖିଛନ୍ତି, କଣ ତାଙ୍କର ଠାକୁର ତାଙ୍କ ଭିତରେ ତ ଅଛନ୍ତି, କାହିଁ ସେଭଳିଆ ଜିନିଷଟା କଲେ, ମତେ ପରୀକ୍ଷା କରୁଥିବେ ଠାକୁର କି କଣ ହଉଥିବ, ମୁଁ ଟିକେ ଷ୍ଟ୍ରଙ୍ଗ ହେଇଯାଏ। ଆଉ ସେ ଜଣେ ଭଲ ଲୋକ, ଆଉ ସେ ଭଲ କାମ ଗୁଡା କରନ୍ତି, ତାଙ୍କ ଭଲ ଗୁଣ ଗୁଡାକ ଚିନ୍ତା କରିବେ, ତାହେଲେ ଧୀରେ ଧୀରେ ଦେଖିବେ ଆପଣଙ୍କ ମନଟା ଗୋଟେ ବଡ ଜିନିଷ ହବ। Whether it impacts them or not also depends on what level of consciousness they are in. ଆପଣଙ୍କ ମନଟା ଭଲ ରହିବ ସବୁବେଳେ। ଆପଣଙ୍କ ମନରେ ଯେତେବେଳେ କାହା ପ୍ରତି ଗୋଟେ ଖରାପ ଧାରଣା ଆସୁଛି ମନଟା ସଞ୍ଚେଇ ହଉନି କି କଷ୍ଟ ହଉଛି ଆପଣଙ୍କୁ, ସେ କଷ୍ଟରୁ ଆପଣ ମୁକୁଳି ଯିବେ, ୟୁ ଆର୍ ଅଲୱେଜ୍ ହ୍ୟାପି ରାଇଟ୍। ତାପରେ ଦେଖିବେ ତାର ଇଫେକ୍ଟ ହେଲା ସିଏ ବି ଚେଞ୍ଜ ହେଇଯାଆନ୍ତି, ଆପଣଙ୍କ ପ୍ରତି ଆଟଲିଷ୍ଟ ତାଙ୍କର ମନୋଭାବଟା ଚେଞ୍ଜ ହେଇଯିବ। ଆଉ କାହା ପ୍ରତି ନ ହେଇପାରେ, ଡିପେଣ୍ଡ କରୁଛି ତାଙ୍କର ଲେଭେଲଟା କୋଉଠି କୋଉ ଜିନିଷ ଚିନ୍ତା କରୁଛନ୍ତି ନ କରୁଛନ୍ତି, ନ ହେଇପାରେ, କିନ୍ତୁ ଏଇଟା ଚେଞ୍ଜ ହେଇଯିବ। ବଟ୍ ତାଙ୍କର ଚେଞ୍ଜ ହଉ କି ନ ହଉ ଆପଣଙ୍କ ଫିଲିଂଟା ଆଗ ଚେଞ୍ଜ ହେବ। ବୁଝିପାରୁଛନ୍ତି କଣ କହୁଛି?
ହଁ ଭାଇ, ଜୟଗୁରୁ।
Any other question? ତେଣୁ ଆମର ଯୋଉ ଷଡ଼ ରିପୁ କଥା ଆଜି ପଢିଲେ, 6ଟା ରିପୁ, ତା ଭିତରୁ 3ଟା ରିପୁକୁ ପ୍ରଧାନ କୁହାଯାଉଛି କାମ, କ୍ରୋଧ, ଲୋଭ। କାମନା ବାଧାପ୍ରାପ୍ତ ହେଲେ କ୍ରୋଧରେ ପରିଣତ ହୁଏ। ତେଣୁ ତା ଦେହରୁ ଦେଖିବେ କାମ, କ୍ରୋଧ, ଲୋଭ, again with those three, କାମ ଆଉ କ୍ରୋଧ ଦିଟା ବେଶୀ ପାୱାରଫୁଲ। ତାଙ୍କ ଦି ଜଣ ଭିତରେ ଦେଖିବେ କାମନା ଇଜ ଦ ମୋଷ୍ଟ ପାୱାରଫୁଲ ଥିଙ୍ଗ that negatively impacts us. ଯଦି କାମନାଟା ଧୀରେ ଧୀରେ ପଳେଇଲା ତାପରେ କ୍ରୋଧ ଆସିବନି, କ୍ରୋଧ ନ ଆସିଲେ ବାକି ଜିନିଷ ଗୁଡାକ କଣ୍ଟ୍ରୋଲ ହେଇଯିବ, ଲୋଭ, ମୋହ, ମଦ ଆଶ୍ଚର୍ଯ୍ୟ। ତେଣୁ ସବୁବେଳେ ମନେ ରଖିବା କାମନାଟା କେମିତି ଯିବ। କାମନା କଣ ନା, ଯେତେବେଳେ ଯାଏ ଆମର କୌଣସି ଅନିତ୍ୟ ବସ୍ତୁ ପ୍ରତି ଆଟ୍ରାକ୍ସନ ରହୁଛି ସେତେବେଳେ କାମନା ଅନିତ୍ୟ ବସ୍ତୁ ପ୍ରତି ଆସକ୍ତିଟାକୁ କହୁଛନ୍ତି ମୋହ ବୋଲି। ଦ୍ୟାଟ୍ ଇଜ ହ୍ୱାଟ ଦ୍ୟାଟ୍ ଇଜ। ଅନିତ୍ୟ ବସ୍ତୁ କିଏ ନା ଏଭ୍ରିଥିଙ୍ଗ ଅଦର ଦେନ୍ ଠାକୁର ବ୍ରହ୍ମ ଇଜ ଅନିତ୍ୟ। ସୋ ସେଇଟାକୁ ଗ୍ରାଜୁଆଲି କରନ୍ତି ଚିନ୍ତାଧାରା ଦ୍ଵାରା, କିନ୍ତୁ ଏଇ ପଜିଟିଭ ଥିଙ୍କିଂ, କାହା ପ୍ରତି ଖରାପ ଧାରଣା ନ ରଖିବା, କାହା ପ୍ରତି ଖରାପ ବ୍ୟବହାର କରିବା, ଅନ୍ତରେନ୍ଦ୍ରିୟ ତାକୁ ସଂଯମ କରିବା। ଆଜି ଆମେ ପଢୁଥିଲେ ସଂସାର ପଥରେ, ତା ଦେହରୁ ଟିକେ ହିଣ୍ଟ ଦିଆ ହେଇଛି କେମିତି ଆରମ୍ଭ କରିବେ ସାଧନା। ଯୋଗ ପଥରେ ଯମ ନିୟମ କଥା ଲେଖି ନାହାନ୍ତି, କିନ୍ତୁ ଯମ ନିୟମ କରିସାରିଲା ପରେ ଯାଇ ଆସନ ପ୍ରାଣାୟାମ ଇତ୍ୟାଦି କରିପାରିବେ। ଆଉ ଯମଟା ହେଲା ଅନ୍ତରେନ୍ଦ୍ରିୟ ସଂଯମ, ଆଉ କିଛି ନୁହଁ। ସେ ଅନ୍ତରେନ୍ଦ୍ରିୟ ସଂଯମଟା ଆମେ ଯଦି ଠିକ ଭାବରେ କରିପାରିଲେ ତାହେଲେ whatever else happens or not, at least ଯେମିତି ଠାକୁର ଉଦୟ କହିଛନ୍ତି ସୁଖം ବାଞ୍ଚନ୍ତି ସର୍ବୋଇ, ସମସ୍ତଙ୍କର ସୁଖ ଦରକାର। We will get that happiness while we exist in this world. ଆମର ଟାଇମ ହେଇଗଲାଣି, ଏଠି ରଖିବା। ଦିବ୍ୟମ୍, you have the ପ୍ରାର୍ଥନା ସଙ୍ଗୀତ for young aspirant person when you are ready. ଦିବ୍ୟମ୍,
ଜୟଗୁରୁ, ଆଜି ଦିବ୍ୟମ୍ ଇଣ୍ଡିଆରୁ ଫେରିଛି, so he cannot sing. ପ୍ରତ୍ୟୁଷା ଗାଇବାର ଆଜି ଅଛି। ପ୍ରତ୍ୟୁଷା, ଜୟଗୁରୁ।
ଜୟଗୁରୁ। ହସରେ ହସରେ ମୁକୁତା ଝରି ଯା ରଙ୍ଗ ଧରୁ, ହସରେ ହସରେ ମୁକୁତା ଝରି ଯା ରଙ୍ଗ ଧରୁ, ଆଶିଷର ଧାରା ବରସି ଯାଇ ଯା ତେରି କରରୁ, ଆଶିଷର ଧାରା ବରସି ଯାଇ ଯା ତେରି କରରୁ, ସେହି ମୋ ଠାକୁର মুনি গমাতরু, ସେହି ମୁନି ଗମା କଳପତରୁ, ହସରେ ହସରେ ମୁକୁତା ଝରି ଯା ରଙ୍ଗ ଧରୁ, ନୟନ ଯୁଗଳ ସବିତା ଶଶାଙ୍କ, ନୟନ
शिरसि झलसाई श्रीमुख सुषमा नाही ता उपमा कलंक न पड़ी चाही फूल ठुकुमाला जा चरण सदा झरे अमृत फूल ठुकुमाला जा चरण सदा झरे अमृत से अमृत पाने भक्त मनस हुए तृपत से अमृत पाने भक्त मनस हुए तृपत सेहि मोर माता सेहि मोर ताता सेहि मोर माता सेहि मोर ताता सेहि मो पूजन बाल्यकालरू सेहि मो पूजन बाल्यकालरू हसरी हसरी मुकुता झरी रंग धरू आशीषर धारा बरसी जाए सिरी कररू वीणा जीण स्वर तुभी बार बार वीणा जीण स्वर तुभी बार बार पराणी फूलक जगाई मधुर बाणी मननी कीणी जनम मारण बुलाई चरण जहार विरंची वंचित नैकम सुधा चरण जहार विरंची वंचित निगम सुधा तापित हृदय सुशीतल वारी सिंची वसुधा तापित हृदय सुशीतल वारी सिंची वसुधा सेहि मोर प्रिया सेहि मो हृदय सेहि मोर प्रिया सेहि मो हृदय सेहि मो परम आराध्य गुरु सेहि मो परम आराध्य गुरु हसरी हसरी मुकुता झरी रंग धरू आशीषर धारा बरसी जाए सिरी कररू
Jayaguru, young aspirants. I'll start with attendance and then I'll ask Pratita to explain the meaning of the song that she just sang. Aditi?
Jayaguru से आसुची.
Jayaguru. Adhyasa? Icy.
Jayaguru.
Jayaguru. Anik.
Jayaguru.
Jayaguru. Ansh.
Jayaguru.
Jayaguru. Anshu. Arnav.
जयगुरु की पूजा रे नहीं है जी
Jayaguru. Arya.
Jayaguru.
Jayaguru. Ashrita. Jama.
Jayaguru.
Jayaguru. Timmy.
Jayaguru.
Jayaguru. Jagrat.
Jayaguru.
Jayaguru. Naitik. Nivriti. Pratyusha.
Jayaguru Ma.
Jayaguru. Pratyush.
Jayaguru Ma.
Jayaguru. Sanjay.
Jayaguru Ma.
Jayaguru. Saraswat.
Jayaguru Ma.
Jayaguru. Sarthak. Bobby.
Jayaguru.
Jayaguru. Shilpi.
Jayaguru Ma.
Jayaguru. Manu.
Jayaguru.
Jayaguru. Jimmy.
Jayaguru.
Jayaguru. Simran.
Jayaguru Ma.
Jayaguru. Shrija.
Jayaguru Ma.
Jayaguru. Suhani. Yukta.
Jayaguru Ma.
Jayaguru. Is there anyone? Jayaguru. Jayaguru. Is there anyone else that I missed? Or came in after? Okay, if not, Pratisha, can you go ahead and explain the meaning of the song you sing?
Jayaguru. I think this is like another really nicely, beautifully written song for Thakura, and the main emphasis of the song would probably go to how much Thakura means to us, how big of an impact he has in our lives. Like he is our teacher, he is like representative of our father and mother and even friend, and like it's quite nice, it's well presented, and I love the way it highlights quite beautifully how Thakura like guides us, how he cares for us and makes us feel important, valued. And yeah, I think overall it's basically mainly talking about his impact in our lives. Jayaguru.
Jayaguru. I also appreciate looking at that you explain the meaning and why you appreciate that meaning. I agree. I do enjoy when all of you sing these songs, when we listen to these songs. I do also enjoy hearing about and remembering how present he is in all of these aspects and how much he supports us in all of these ways. So before we get started today and get into the reading, I did want to let you all know, some of you might have seen this already, but there are currently there are a couple of surveys going around for AMSAS, and there is one survey specifically for the young aspirants. So for those of you that get the emails directly because you have an email, or for those of you that don't get emails from AMSAS, your parents would have gotten this. Everyone in the AMSAS group would have gotten this. There is a survey for all of you YAs, and we would appreciate your participation in letting us know. It's pretty short. It's going to ask you about how the session helps you in your daily life, what you're expecting, if you have any suggestions, things that you would like to have more of in these sessions. And we'll also ask you some questions about the new Hokumenos that we're going to be building, anything that you would like to see built there. So if you haven't already, or if you haven't seen it, we're asking if you can take a look at that questionnaire and give your feedback. That will be really helpful to everyone, those of us planning and doing these, facilitating these YA sessions, and then also for that construction planning committee, getting all of your feedback will be very helpful. So please go ahead and take a look at that, your emails or your parents' emails. Okay, so then moving forward with the session today, it's the second week, so we're going to continue. We've been reading from the Buddha Swami Nigamayananda, which is a biography of Sakura, and it includes multiple things you said, and more than just the biography, it does include a lot of background information on things he said, and also just serial matters in general. And as we've been reading the Gita, especially the last couple parts, we've talked about getting a true knowledge of ourselves, the true knowledge of who God is, who Tara is, who in the context of Gita, who Lord Krishna is. So this, and what we've been reading in and then the sections we've been reading out of here, we've been looking at the nature of Sadguru, which is what Thakura is to us. And so both of these things kind of come together in the reading today, where the discussion will be on knowledge of self. So we can go ahead and read that. Sanju, would you be able to read the passage for us today?
Jayaguru, sure. Jayaguru, knowledge of self. Incarnations are oblivious of the knowledge of self, but Sadguru has full and ultimate knowledge of the self. In this way, Sadguru is greater than incarnation. Leela cannot be enacted perfectly if one is not forgetful of the self. There is a covering on the original self of everyone. Just as on me there is the mask of a guru. I make disciples because I have the egoism of a guru. It is also a form of Leela. But I have never forgotten the self while enacting this Leela. I possess the full knowledge that I am also playing the role of a guru. You have come to the world for the enactment of your role in the drama of life. Here you can acquire knowledge of several things, but you cannot attain the knowledge of the self in a single lifespan. This gross body will wither and perish on the day the knowledge of the self dawns upon you. How can the drama be enacted if the knowledge of the self will be revealed in the midst of it? For example, a man plays the role of Sita in a theatrical performance. If he says to the audience in the middle of the play that he's not a woman but a man, the play will be a complete waste. Your position is also like that. Your role in the drama of life, however, is coming to an end. It will not be too late. The knowledge of the self will dawn upon you as soon as you complete your role or assignment in the drama of life. If knowledge of self is attained as soon as the role in the drama of life is finished, what is then the need of a guru? When this question was asked, Sri Sri Thakur replied, "You have forgotten your real self because of your prolonged participation in the role of the drama. You confuse the dramatic self as your own self. In other words, you mistake the mask as the real self. I have come to obliterate that confusion and to herald the message of nectar that your role in the drama is coming to an end. Again, we all have, indeed, come to enact our role flawlessly in this world, but the world is a stage. This very fact is forgotten. How can it be remembered? In the words of Ramakrishna, Pancha Bhuttar Pande Brahma Padi Kande, Brahman moans falling in the labyrinth of 5 early and gross elements. Once Indra, the king of gods, was born as a pig because of a curse. On assuming the form of a boar, he completely forgot that he was Indra, king of gods. In the heavens, the throne of the king fell vacant. The rule of the kingdom of heaven almost came to a grinding halt in the absence of Indra. Vishnu, the preserver of the universe, sent Narada, the great sage, to destroy the facade of illusion of Indra. When Narada reached there, he found Indra in the form of a boar, leading a very contented life, eating the root of Arun with his children. Narada told him, "Gem of pigs, you are in fact not a pig. You are Indra, the king of gods of heaven. The throne in heaven is vacant in your absence. You need to return to heaven. There you will get inexpressible joy and happiness." "O Thakur, I understand your intrigue and malice," said the boar. "You speak like this because you are now overpowered by your irresistible temptation to eat my flesh. Let the kingdom of heaven melt in the river Mandakini, but this is my place. I am fairly happy here. The amount of pleasure and delight which I get here can hardly be comparable and available in heaven." Hence the piggish state was highly palatable to boar Indra. Finding no other way out, Narada narrated these incidents to Vishnu. On hearing everything from Narada, he came to pig Indra with Sudarshan, the great wheel, in his hand. Vishnu endeavored very hard to restore Indra's lost memory, but it was all in vain. Eventually, Vishnu killed all of the kids of the pig to demolish his illusion. On it, the boar created a terrible noise. When Vishnu came forward to kill the she-pig, the boar screamed and attacked him. Vishnu beheaded the boar with Sudarshan. Immediately, Indra, the king of gods, came out of the body of a boar. Now Indra could realize everything. He grieved over his forgetfulness for the self for such a long period. When Jiva attains the knowledge of the self due to the blessing of Gurudev, he also understands what a huge magnitude of time he has spent in vain. Jayaguru.
Jayaguru. Before we get into discussion, does anyone have any questions? Okay, no, we'll just start talking through, just starting from the beginning and going through as we normally do. So in this first part of the passage, this is part of a greater thing, and so this was not defined specifically here, but in the first paragraph, the word Leela is...
I'm using a voice assistant to convert your voice to text.
So, does anyone know when it talks about Leela what it's referring to? Yuksa, do you have any idea what it's referring to when it says the word Leela?
Jayaguru, when I was reading that paragraph, I thought it was like a synonym to Deva. Jayaguru.
So not quite. So if we, doing so can be part of it. So it's referring to concept. Leela can be translated. I've seen it translated in English as as a divine play a story. A story and that sort of thing, and it's discussed later in the next paragraph. The metaphor is continued, and he talks about we've come to the world for enactment of the role in the drama of life. In spiritual discussions, this kind of translation as the drama of life is how Leela can be translated in a lot of places. So when it talks about Leela, it's talking about, I've also seen the translation as the divine play. So what it's talking about here is we've discussed that, the ultimate truth of who we are is we all come from Brahman, and we've talked about what that means and how a lot of everything that we're experiencing in this world is material, and we go through our day-to-day lives not knowing who we are, and we're not really being in touch with what that part of us is, what Brahman is. And so Leela kind of encompasses this idea of we're all on this earth. We've come to this world, and we have a role in this world, and we're doing this kind of divine play. So all of these things, all of these actions we're taking, it's going back and forth, and we can think of it as a play, as a drama of all of these material things happening. We're doing our roles, everyone else has their roles, all of these things are occurring, but then that ultimate truth that Brahman is there kind of underneath it. So when it talks about that, thinking of Leela as translated as this divine play, as what's discussed as a performance in this second paragraph, what does it mean? This divine play, Leela, cannot be enacted perfectly if one is not forgetful of the self, the true knowledge of the self. Ansh, what do you think that means? That Leela cannot be, this divine play cannot be enacted perfectly if we have true knowledge of the self.
Jayaguru, I think it means that because Leela is trying to be, it's part of the illusion that we all see in our day-to-day life. And it's part of that material desire. And so having the knowledge that it is, just mainly a facade, really just to level of understanding and to see the Leela for what it truly is. Jayaguru?
Right. If we have that enlightenment, we know what's going on. We're not necessarily going to want to, and we've talked about detachment. If you have that detachment, you're not necessarily going to participate in your role in the play, if that means you have to care about the outcome of material things and enact all of that. If you are if you've cultivated that dispassion, if you're not connected to those material things in that way, you're not necessarily going to play that same role. And so then he mentions, so not all of this is, Jayaguru says that this part will be, there's a covering of the original self with everyone, just as on me there's mask of Guru. So this has come up the last part of the last section that we read in the Gita, this concept of Maya or illusion. So this covering of the original self, that's talking about this illusion concept we've discussed. So what does he say? So for the Guru, does the Guru understand who he truly is, and what role does he play? How does the Guru, with his understanding, still play the role, and why does he still play a role? Aryan?
Jayaguru, it says in the reading that he has come to obliterate that confusion and to herald the message of nectar, that your role in the drama is coming to an end. And so, in this sense, like he's claiming this role of Guru, and that he's helping us to play our part in Leela. Jayaguru.
Jayaguru, right. So I mean, he knows Thakuran obviously is enlightened. When he became Guru, he already knew that this is all divine act. This is Leela. It's not the truth. So he doesn't feel, I mean, he's not acting out because he believes in the illusion, but he has to play the role of Guru because we're all in this Leela. He has to still be here to guide us out and guide us in the right path. And only in coming in here and interacting with us in this way where we are, will he be able to help us. Because if he is completely devoid of that, then how can he guide us when we're still under all of this illusion? Okay. So then kind of going into that, so that's why he takes the role is to guide us. Why then do we need him to help guide us out of this trauma of life? Because as he has this discussion here, play is coming to an end at some point. We will realize that we were just playing a role. We will be enlightened. Why do we need him to help us break free or understand that we're in this illusion? Shrija, why do we need a guru to break free of illusion?
We need him to help us get free from this illusion, because we don't understand that we are in this, because we're having a happy life in this this drama of life. Chico,
we're here. We don't. We're on this spiritual journey, and we're trying to do these various spiritual practices and then get more in touch with what this truth is and try to understand it and move forward. But we live our day-to-day lives in this material world. We're used to living this way, where we know how we function. We know how our world works and how we interact day to day. It's very difficult for us to just know the truth and get that. So ultimately we need someone to help us see the world in a different way, to help us get out of the patterns that we follow day to day, and give us that perspective. It's very difficult to just do that on our own without some outside help like we have with Thakura as our guru. Okay. So then we get this story of Indra that used to illustrate the points made here about why a guru is needed and why it's difficult to know who we are when we're in this illusion, and what coming out of that can look like. And for this story of Indra that we read through, I see. What are your takeaways of this story? What did that illustrate to you? Was there anything, any takeaways from that helped with the points made earlier?
Yeah, because it put into action what it meant, to not be able to realize your true self, and how it's needed to have a guru. And I understood points better because of the example it gave. And yeah, Jayaguru.
So in that story, who what part of it, or who was acting as guru, and why was that needed?
Jayaguru, Indra was the guru, and he was needed because they needed a leader to help them. Jayaguru.
So Indra was Indra was the one that was stuck in the illusion. He was the boar. And who was able to Jamu, who was able to get Indra out of the boar state and get him to remember that he was Indra? Pratyush, who was able to remind Indra that he was, or get him out of that state of illusion and remind him that he was Indra, or get him to remember that?
Jayaguru was Lord Vishnu.
Right. And was it easy?
I mean, it wasn't easy to convince Indra until he killed him in the boar form.
Right. So he essentially had to get rid of the boar form entirely. It was pretty violent. He wasn't just convinced by explanation. There was pretty extreme steps there to get Indra to that point by destroying the boar body, and that can be thought of as a metaphor. He was able to then finally realize everything, and that was a large undertaking by Vishnu. So just in the story, in that same way, it's a huge undertaking for Thakura to remind us of that true knowledge of self, get us to where we need to go. And he is there. That's his role, is to help us get there in that same way. Not exactly the same way, but metaphorically it's the same as Vishnu did in that story. But we have all of that within us, and we will at some point, through the spiritual practice, through Thakura's help, eventually get there. But we do, that story, as was discussed, we've been discussing, we do need that guidance from Guru to get there. So with that, we are out of time. We'll pick up on these same themes as we get back into reading the Gita in a couple of weeks. And I think Manu has Bahuvanya today, so when you're ready, Jayaguru.
Jayaguru. Today is my Bali Seva. I'm very thankful for the opportunity to express myself and reflect on my experiences so far today in front of Thakura. Recently, I've been thinking about how spirituality connects us to our truth inside and to the outside, to the rest of the world, which is something that we have been discussing in recent YA sessions. Even though it never has and never will be about being perfect, doing all the right things, and flawless seva, I still find myself holding on to my mistakes tightly and not letting them go. Letting my mistakes go doesn't mean forgetting about them or leaving them in the past. To me, it means to accept that I have done something wrong and to find ways to do better. By holding it against myself, I would build resentment and discontent, which ultimately leads to disconnection and stunts my growth both as a person and in my spiritual path. Mistakes are an inevitable part of my learning and any learning. Thakura's grace encompasses both flaws and growth. The world would be better with more forgiveness, but forgiveness is hard, and it gets more complicated when it comes to actually forgiving someone else or even ourselves for hurting us. I think the issue is that we blame the world and other people for our problems and problems in the world. We point fingers, and this leads to more disagreements and anger, which does not help resolve anything. Sometimes how we feel or how I feel because of something or someone else gets very intense, and everything we know and feel is turned upside down. We find it very difficult to concentrate on anything else, so we hold on to the hurt, shame, guilt, anxiety, and stress, We become so familiar that it becomes a part of us. For me, the hardest thing with forgiveness is forgiving myself in the moments when it felt like I almost hated who I was, or when I felt like everybody else hated me. A lack of self-acceptance leads to a lack of acceptance of others. I'm learning that forgiveness isn't saying that what has happened didn't matter or wasn't that bad. Forgiveness, like anything else, is a choice. I'm learning to be kinder to myself, to stop judging myself, and to love myself unconditionally, to see in myself and others what Thakura sees in all of us. Thakura is not judging us. He is helping us. Forgiveness is a process. It's a commitment. It requires us to look past our pain and our pride, to acknowledge our own mistakes, and to find a way to move forward with compassion for ourselves and for others. We need to take the same love that Thakura shows us and see it all around us. And for us to love, we must accept. We can't love people where they are and only where they are, and we can only love ourselves truly as we are right now. We have to stop judging and condemning ourselves for not being perfect, because then we will never be where we want to and will constantly be stuck in a negative mindset. We must learn to forgive ourselves. Forgiving isn't forgetting or denying what happens or finding excuses. It's accepting something to move on and continue becoming better. Yes, Thakura has already forgiven us, but we have to take what he has given us and apply it to ourselves and all our relationships with others. We are all imperfect people on similar yet separate spiritual journeys, and our path includes stumbling, learning, and growing together. As I continue to make mistakes and learn, I pray that Thakura continues to guide me in this journey of self-forgiveness and forgiveness towards others. Jayaguru.
Jayaguru. There is one session of the Sangha Puja that I really enjoy, and that's the young aspirants. When in the Bhava Vinama I heard, I learned so much from there. And the YA session of our Sangha Puja is so unique and integral aspect of our AMSAS. This YA session, I would say, is a defining feature of AMSAS. And I have also heard that other Sanghas are adopting it, which is wonderful. There are numerous incidents and stories in the Jubani and other books, Thakura's book, that highlight how deeply Thakura loved and valued children, cherishing the innocence and purity. The young aspirants are the future of our Sangha. We all acknowledge that. And nurturing them is a sacred responsibility which is shared by parents, guardians, and of course our Sangha community. Even in the Parichaya Patra, which is a treasure trove of Thakura's wisdom, and it offers profound instructions and teaching in a very concise form, Thakura emphasized the responsibilities of Mars and provided guidance on how to be a good housewife and mothers. He acknowledged that Mars have limited time for religious activities due to their primary responsibility of caring for their husbands, family, and children. So he gave them instructions to take Gurudev's name at all times perpetually. If you recall, the first sentence in Mars Parichaya Patra is, fill your heart with the love of motherhood. Another sentence says that love and nurture children with the love of God. These teachings remind us of our sacred responsibilities, responsibilities of parents hold in guiding their children. Thakura recognized the challenges of parenting. If I recall, in one of his letters, he has stated, in the present condition of society, it is difficult to bring up children appropriately, but you must try. This is true more now, especially when we are residing in a society which is so diverse. Raising children as Indians in US comes with multiple challenges. rooted in balancing our cultural heritage with the environment that they are growing up. Of course, on the other hand, children growing up in